Hey everyone, so this is going to be a bit of a long video. I'm going to talk about clock and the things we've changed and when we're going to put it out and things like that. So just to make it clear, we aren't making a clock from scratch. The Angstrom clock, it's going to be a heavily modified Ling Ao. And we're just going to talk about the steps and the current iteration. So a lot of things have changed since the last time we made clock. First thing is identifying why the Ling Ao is bad. So no magnets, obviously. The buttons, that was the old video. This video is going to be about changes since the last video. The first thing that we noticed is the problem with the Ling Ao clock is on these faces you have these axles. These are where the gears spin, and here we notice that this plastic and this plastic, there's a bit of a friction issue, and when you use a different plastic, there's a lot of force because these gears in a perfect world would only turn axially, but when force is applied off axis and they go like this and they wiggle and wobble around, the issue is there's a lot of force and you have to keep it straight. Now, we have to obviously make our own. So now our axles are being made of Teflon, 3.1 millimeter Teflon. And because of this Teflon and its low friction coefficient, it helps it spin up a lot more. Just to show you how much it helps, we're gonna put it on here. We're gonna spin it, just like that. And the spinning motion is a lot better when it's on a low friction thing, especially with lubricant. The next thing that we're debating is springs versus magnets. So in the classic clock, the springs, they push the dials into place, so when one is being turned, the other doesn't turn. However, you'll notice on the Ling Ao, there's a little plastic right there where the pins from the injection molding leave a mark. The springs can catch on that, and it'll like catch up. People who do clock know what I'm talking about. And you have to slap the clock to get it loose, and it'll jump from like 12 to 9 or 11 all the way to 6, depending on how much force has been pent up in the spring. And when you press the button, sometimes a lot of that force is released, and it's not good. It's really bad. So people trim the springs. Keenan, he's at a competition, he's showing it around. His clock, he has a clock with trimmed springs. The problem with that is the springs exert a lot of force and a lot of friction, and it leads to some issues. So the next way to solve that issue is magnets. So we magnetically levitate the two. So with these, there's no spring friction whatsoever because it's levitating, and all you have left is axial friction along the Teflon. And we know the Teflon, it has really good friction properties, so you don't have to worry about that. And when you have two of them levitating, spinning it, it's pretty easy. So the clock currently has that, and we're trying to decide if it's good or not, and we're making a pretty quick decision on this. So if Keenan goes to the competition and people give him the okay, then we'll run with it. We'll make maglev clocks, delay it by a few days, like 2 days max. We know everyone's really excited and we're gonna get it out, and I'm doing my best. So that's one thing. We rounded the frame off. We're gonna add red to the 12 o'clock marker to really make the 12 o'clock marker stand out. Magnets. So on the older versions, the magnets, if you dropped and jostled the clock around a lot, it could still pop out. So in the current clock, we've changed that, so now it'll never ever pop out unless you destructively shatter the frame or the face or something like that, because now I used a CNC mill to mill out the clock, and we've sandwiched the magnet between multiple pieces of plastic. So now there's no way that the clock can go loose, the magnets will pop. It's a sealed system, and it's in a really good place now. What else? The gears. So the button gear, I've changed it, so now there's a little circular track. It spaces it perfectly. Before this, I used a little rubber dampening ring that we made from scratch here, and it made a soft feeling for the clock. After talking to Keenan and Maddie and some of the employees here, they actually preferred the loud click instead of the soft. Me and Stanley had a conversation, and the dampening rings actually, they dampen the force when you drop the clock. And it's simple physics. When you have impacts, you slow the impact and distribute the force. There's less impact. But now that we've changed the clock around, we're gonna go with the hard, snappy, loud click. And that's not gonna change. We're putting that into production. I have lots of gears ready. So let's see. That should be it for clock updates. I'm working on some other stuff. Project Luminox, I'm gonna put that on a temporary hiatus. To be honest, guys, I've been working on that for close to a year now. And it's been a year of half success, half failures. And there's only so much failure that one man can take. Now, if you watch this video just for clock updates, that's it. Now I'm gonna go talk about personal stuff. Guys, I'm in a rut. I am so sad these days. Like, there's some stuff I can't talk about on the video, but my girlfriend left me of 2 years, and it really gets with you. And this is probably one of the bad ones. It hit me out of nowhere, and I had to drive to Georgia, 15 hours, to register my car and pay the taxes on my car, because you need your car there. I haven't switched to New York yet because I need all these documents, and those documents are in Georgia. So I drove 15 hours and I saw her, and she broke up with me. So I had to drive 15 hours back, just in my head by myself, thinking about why I'm such a bad person and all this stuff. And it mentally gets to you. Dating in your late 20s, like, I'm almost 30, I think. I'm pretty old. I don't think about my age, I just know I'm close to 30. At this point, I'm watching all my friends getting married, having kids. My friends who graduated, like, the same year as me, other friends when I got my second degree, they're making like $80,000, and they're all so successful. I have really successful friends, and you know, I'm not getting that. And it's so lonely, guys. It is beyond lonely. If it weren't for my homie Mike, God, I would be a mess. Anyways, there's just so much sadness one person can take. So Luminox, it's gonna go forward in another way. I'm working on some other stuff, but with the holiday, I can't get parts in as fast because all the shipping is delayed. Even FedEx shipping was delayed. But I'm just gonna redivert my time into clock, try to get over this rut, and we'll go from there. So, yep, regardless of anything that happens, clock will release this week. I know there have been so many significant delays. I've been caught up on so many things, but we'll get through it. And that should be it. See you guys in the next video.